Hey, I'm Caleb with YouCanMakeThisToo. Today I'm going to be talking about HVLP sprayers. I've got a variety here. We're going to talk about how HVLP works. I'm going to spray some paint and varnish from Total Boat through each of them so we can look at performance. I'm going to try to answer the question I had a year ago, which is, based on the projects I do, which one of these sprayers is the right fit for me? So we'll be doing a little bit of comparison just to see what makes them different and what person each of these would fit. So first, how HVLP works, which stands for high volume, low pressure. And what it means is low air pressure, but a lot of fluid. This has a few features the other guns don't have, but I'm only going to talk about what's the same. Basically, we have air coming in. In this case, it comes in through the handle, through the air port here. We have a trigger, and we have an adjustment knob that changes how far back you can pull the trigger. The farther back you pull the trigger, the more air is allowed, which is going to mean more finish comes out. And the air goes two ways. Some air is bypassed through this hose, which goes to pressurize the pot, and the rest comes and goes out the needle. Just look at what's happening inside the pressure pot. And some of these also work off of a vacuum fed. I don't have those, so we're just going to talk about pressure pots. So as the air pressure feels the container is going to push down on whatever liquid you have in here, which is going to want to go somewhere. It's going to go through the filter, up the pipe, and then come up towards the needle. And I'm not going to get into different needles and tips, but you can get different tips and different needles for the guns to do better with different finishes. The paint or whatever finish you're spraying is going to come out the nozzle and the tip. And then we also have all these other ports where air is coming through. Then you can see on our cover piece, we have two holes. And that is how we adjust the pattern. And all of them do that. So most HVLPs, some spray a circle, but they'll all spray vertically or horizontally. And it gets really confusing because when this is horizontal, you might think it'll spray horizontal. But what's happening is the air is coming through those holes and basically pinching the finish. So when you pinch it, it's going to want to be vertical. So just remember, whichever way this is facing, your finish is going to come out perpendicular to it. So if it's vertical, your sprayer will be horizontal. If it's horizontal, it'll be vertical, and same with any type of diagonal. And that's basically the fundamentals of how all these guns work.
Now I'm filling up all three guns with some of the Total Boat Elixir paint. I went with the Total Boat Elixir paint because I've used it several times, so I know what to expect from it and what kind of results I should see. Also, sure, water-based is water-based, but there's something about this that just seems to clean up easier than most water-based paints for me. And since I knew I had three guns to clean, I decided to go with something that'd be easier to clean. Now with the Sprayport 6003, I had a little bit of a rough start because I didn't tighten the paint cup down tight enough. But once I got that reset and tightened, everything went fine.
Okay, forgive the, debris and stuff that ended up blowing up on this. Obviously, you'd want to spray in some type of station. Also, I decided not to do varnish because this right here far better shows the difference between the sprayers than I really expected. We have single stage, two stage, three stage. Let's get a little closer. So right here, we're looking at the single stage. And what's very telling is sort of this overspray area, because what you want your sprayer to do is atomize the finish, basically take the liquid and turn it into very, very fine particles. This does okay, and for the paint, as you can see, this is a pretty good coat. There's a lot of little bumps, but when you scuff sanded this, it's going to look pretty good. Our two stage, though, you look and see that it's a lot more even. There's a smaller spray pattern, so we still have, some larger pieces, but we're not overspraying near as much, which is going to make spraying easier because we're not losing as much finish just to the area. We're keeping it where we want it, and we also have smaller particles. Especially if we look down here, it's a little easier to see the difference between the single stage and the two stage. Definitely atomizing better. Then we come over here to the three stage, and you can see how much better the three stage is. Look at that. That is quite the difference between two and three stage as far as atomization. Now clearly with more turbines or stages, we're getting better atomization, and if you go up to a 4 or 5 stage unit, you're going to see even better. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you need that much atomization. I've sprayed several projects with this single stage sprayer, and it's done just fine. If you check out my Lego table, I sprayed it with that, and the recent assembly table outfeed video. I'll have links to all those below. I sprayed with the 5500, and then the 6003 I recently sprayed a commission project with it that came out really good. Didn't do a video on that though. Before I get into the comparison, I want to say that all of these have been provided to me at some point for projects, but these have not been provided for this video, and this video isn't sponsored by any of these manufacturers. This is entirely my own personal opinion from my experience. This is sponsored by Total Boat, who provided the finish that I tested all these with, so thank you to Total Boat. I think a good place to start is with the single stage, which is a good place to start to talk about stages. I have a single stage, 2-stage, and 3-stage. What that means is how many fans they have. So this is 1 fan, 2 fans, 3 fans. With more fans, you kind of have more oomph or power behind the air, which is going to let your 3-stage spray thicker or less viscous finishes than a single stage. This will either need to have thin finishes or they'll need to be thinned to spray well through these guns. And for all of these, you can have interchangeable tips and needles, which is going to help you dial in your finish. I'm not going to be getting into that. That would be more like how to dial in your HVLP, not what unit's a good fit for you. So the single stage I have here is the HomeRight Super Finish Max. As you can see, this is sort of an all-in-one, very small, compact, so easy to store unit, has the motor and fan built in, and also carries the paint. All of these are off pressure pots. Have the trigger, the adjustment knob is here. As you see, it's plastic, so it's a little less durable. You saw how it sprayed. I think this single stage, these are best for clear coats and stains, things that you're going to be leveling out. So if you have any orange peel, that's really easy to take care of when you wipe off the excess, or in your between sandings. You can do paint, but you're going to have to thin it. I have sprayed acrylic paint through this, and I have sprayed latex paint through this. I had to thin it way past the manufacturer's recommendations, but I was still able to get a really good paint job that I was very satisfied with. Just be sure to experiment, but you can definitely get good results with a single stage. Next up, we have the Earlex 5500. This is our 2-stage unit. As you can see, the body still has a lot of plastic, but we are moving up to a professional style aluminum gun. The onboard storage is really nice, so we can keep our hose here. This is a 12-foot hose. I want to say this makes it really easy to transport. You see it's got a handle, also has a place to store your gun, so this makes it very easy to move this unit around and keep it all compact and store it in your shop when you're not using it. One of the nice things about moving to the multi-stage units is then you can start spraying lacquer. You don't really want to spray lacquer through a single stage, or at least the all-in-one kind of units. They're just not built for it. So if you want to do lacquer, you're looking for at least a 2-stage unit. Another thing about this, we have a friction fit hose. So with onboard storage, you just put your hose in there, and the other opening is underneath, hidden behind the hose storage for where we plug the hose into the machine. And now the big boy of our lineup. This is the Earlex 6003 spray station. As you can see, this is a all metal construction of our blower unit. We have a more professional gun. This is a Super 8 gun. It has an extra knob, and what this lets us do is dial in our spray pattern even more. So if you crank it all the way counterclockwise, you're going to get a perfect circle, and then as you crank clockwise, it's going to turn that circle into a fan. So you're not just limited to vertical or horizontal. We can also dial in how wide our fan is going to be, so you can be more concentrated with your spray. I think that makes this gun much better suited to any more intricate kind of furniture, or any pieces where you're going to have a lot of moldings, nooks and crannies, inside corners, anywhere where you're going to want more control of your spray pattern. HVLP sprayer with a gun that has that kind of adaptability is going to be much better suited. Also, of course, with the 3-stage, we have more power, so we're going to be able to spray thicker liquids better. We're also moving up in features and comfort. So as you see, this has a threaded port for the hose, so it screws on. The gun has a quick release, so we're not dealing with friction fits anymore, so no worry of it accidentally popping out. We also have a more comfortable handle on the gun, so it's just going to be more comfortable. And with the all-metal case, a little more durable, especially if you're going to be transporting your unit around a lot, throwing it in a truck. You know, the metal is going to take a beating a little better than the plastic might. So to summarize, if you're doing small furniture, upcycling, infrequent use, and don't need to use lacquer, you're probably going to be happy with this. If you're doing moderate use, you might want to be spraying lacquer and you want a better finish, I think this is one you're going to be happy with. If you're spraying intricate details, lots of moldings, or just going to be using it a lot, probably going to be happy with your investment getting the 6003 or a more higher stage unit with some of those features like more spray control and getting away from friction fit, getting into quick release and that kind of stuff. And there you go. That's my thoughts on these different types of sprayers and where I kind of think they fit in the market, and based on your projects, which would be the best fit for you. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something or at least entertained. And until next time, make time to make something.